Spanberger won't condemn school board member for sympathetic emails to sex offender using girls' bathroom. Oh my gosh. Like, how hard is it to say men should not be in women's bathrooms? How difficult is it to protect the women, to protect the girls? It's not that difficult. But if you're a Democrat, it's difficult for you to say that because you are afraid of your terroristic base. You know your base is full of violent people, and they are the small percentage of the people on this 90-10% issue. Your base is the 10% that believe it's okay for grown men to be in little girls' restrooms. It's disgusting. I don't know why anyone in Virginia will vote for Spanberger, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to play some clips. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. There's a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so follow me there as well. And also, you can see my pretty face again. I got my computer fixed, so it's up and running now. Thank y'all for bearing with me with that. But let's get right into this news. Now, this comes from the Federalist, and they report that if you want to see Democrat Virginia gubernatorial candidate Abigail Spanberger dance, ask her opinion about allowing men in women's bathrooms, locker rooms, and sports teams. She has been tap dancing around a straight answer for weeks. In a recent debate, when pressed, she said the decision is up to individuals and school districts. Wow. So basically, I'm not going to piss off my base, so I'm just not going to have any opinion on it and cop out by saying that it's up to the individuals and school districts. They asked her a simple yes or no answer. A question was like, hey, is it okay? And she went and said everything but yes or no. Let's play the clip. Here we go.
Again, the question was, should transgender girls who are biological males be allowed to use girls' bathrooms and play on girls' sports teams in K through 12? You have 15 seconds to clarify.
In cases across Virginia, I think it's incumbent upon parents and educators and administrators in each local community to make decisions locally.
That's what this is about.
Ms. Earl Sears?
There should never be nude men in locker rooms.
Oh my goodness, we finally have her saying that, but you voted for that.
Ms. Earl
Have
Sears.
you finally
My opponent
Ms. Earl
said
Sears,
that
you are
now?
just intruding on
Are
time
we in
here.
agreement now? Are you
Ms.
going
Earl
to
Sears,
tell?
this is Ms. Spanberger's time. I have a follow-up question for Ms. Spanberger. Would you rescind the Youngkin administration policy requiring boys and girls to use bathrooms aligning with their biological sex? You have 30 seconds.
My priority would be to ensure that local communities, importantly parents and teachers and educators, are able to work together to meet the unique needs of each school and each community. And that is important. And I say that as a mother of 3 daughters in Virginia public schools.
Exactly.
And as someone who used to investigate crimes against children. The way that we keep our children safe is by ensuring they are safe in schools, which includes funding law enforcement and public safety.
But Ms. Spanberger, the question was, would you rescind the Youngkin administration policy requiring boys and girls to use bathrooms aligning with their biological sex? You have 15 seconds to clarify that question.
Yes.
And my answer is that in each local community, decisions should be made between parents and educators and teachers in each community. It shouldn't be dictated by politicians.
This is something that politicians need to speak out on. I mean, it's not up to the people, because this is why there's so much fighting and stuff, and school districts fighting against it and for it and all these other things. That's why we need a decisive decision, a decisive governor. Virginia needs a decisive governor to say yes or no, and she will not be decisive on this. I'll leave it up. That's a cop-out, leaving it up to the individual. That's bull crap. A political gif in the news should have made it much easier for Spanberger to find clarity. An Arlington school board allowed a sex offender to shower and dress in the girls' pool locker room last year. WJLA TV's Nick Minock reported on Thursday. As with many public schools, the pool and facilities are open to the public outside school hours. He also revealed that a current Arlington school board member, when running for her school board position, had an empathetic email exchange with the male sex offender who used girls' spaces at Arlington schools. Like, this is crazy. How is a sex offender even allowed to be on school grounds in the first place? The Federalist asked Spanberger in an email if she supports trans-identifying male sex offenders showering with young girls, and does she condemn the sympathetic emails between the sex offender and a school board member candidate? Republican candidate Winsome Early Sears knows her position and is not ashamed to say it out loud. She said, quote, "Girls are girls and boys are boys." She will support policies that promote the separation of the sexes in sports and private areas. Let's play that clip here. This is back in August.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the insanity to stop. It is time for everyone to recognize what is settled truth. Girls are girls and boys are boys.
Facts. It's not difficult.
I cannot believe that we are here today having to talk about these things that everybody understands as plain common sense.
Right.
Here we are, we're talking about three young boys who have been punished because they were trying to do the noble thing and saying they were not comfortable having to undress in front of girls. Now, normally we would applaud that, would we
right.
not? And instead, this school system has decided they are going to use the parents' own tax money against them and punish these boys. And so now they are branded, these young men are branded with a label that no parent wants them to have as folks, as boys who have sexually harassed at their own young age. Think about that. What are we supposed to do now?
Right. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Community shower. Richard Kenneth Cox, 58, a tier 3 registered sex offender since 1998, a dude suffering from male pattern baldness, claimed to be a woman, and the school district policy was to let him into girls' areas. Then he complained that his experience was not inclusive enough. Minock obtained emails between Cox and then school board candidate Kathleen Clark, who was running for election at the time. Quote, "Transgender people, including minors, are disproportionately homeless and use places like the county swimming pool to shower," Cox reportedly wrote. "But let me be clear that this is not the only an opportunity. This is not only an opportunity to be clean, but to be and feel part of the community. However, solely because of complaints of a transgender person in the locker room, Washington Liberty Swimming Pool made a rule that people using the shower, but not the pool, must use the single isolated locker room away from everyone else, like they are some kind of freak or something. But I did not want to feel isolated. I wanted to feel like part of the community." So why can't you be in a separate restroom? Why do you have to be in the same shower? Like, that's weird. As long as you get in the shower, it shouldn't matter if you are showering next to women or men. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're complaining. So to help transgenders out, they had separate restrooms, and they said, no, that's not good enough. Me as a transgender female, I have to be in the female's locker room with my thing swinging. Like, make that make sense to me. Make that make sense to me. That's crazy. As a rule of thumb, the shower is generally the wrong place for anyone to look for community, right? Just lather, rinse, and get out. Facts. According to the emails, Clark offered Cox a sympathetic ear and told him the pool staff needed more training. Of course, that's the answer to everything. More training. Still dancing. Spanberger spokeswoman Libby Wyatt refused to condemn the then candidate's exchange of sympathetic emails with sex offender Richard Kenneth Cox. In fact, Spanberger's office sidestepped the issue entirely when responding to the Federalist inquiry. For a lot of people, there is a straightforward answer to the question. Do you support trans identifying male sex offenders showing with young girls? I'm sorry, that should be showering is with young girls. The answer is a hard no. I mean, it's common sense. It's common sense. But Spanberger had her spokeswoman answer the Federalist with her trademark fogginess. Quote, convicted sex offender Richard Cox is a predator who should be in jail, and that's exactly where he is, Wyatt said in the email. Abigail is a parent of 3 daughters in Virginia public schools and a former federal law enforcement officer who went after child predators. Nothing is more important to her than the safety of Virginia kids. As governor, Abigail will work with state and local law enforcement officers to keep Virginia kids safe and make sure sex offenders are prevented from preying on children and are prosecuted for their crimes. Notice they didn't say that, no, they should not be in the same locker room together. Notice they don't say that. Yeah, no. Spanberger still didn't answer the question. So the Federalist asked again, and this time gave her an even easier way to answer. Multiple choice. Will she keep men out of women's spaces? Yes or no? Spanberger's office provided no answer, of course. Spanberger is apparently not sure where she stands yet, even if a simple policy change would keep sex offenders, those charged, and then yet undiscovered creeps away from members of the opposite sex. Again, she can't do it. And you see a lot of Democrats running for office now, sidestepping easy, simple questions like this, the 90-10, the 80-20 issues that the majority of the people agree with. They're sidestepping because they got to placate to their loony leftist base. And that's exactly what Spanberger is doing here. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave y'all comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.